Hi everyone, welcome back to the IT and Psychology YouTube channel. Today, we are going to be discussing the exercise solutions for our chapter 6 of psychology subject for our 12th grade, that is psychological disorders. We have completed around 4 to 5 parts on the chapter itself, and we had discussed what are different type of disorders, what is mental wellness. We had discussed a few continuum scales, and we had also discussed how red flags can be considered and detected in an individual, and what would you name these red flags, or how you could understand an individual is suffering from schizophrenia. Different symptoms of different disorders had been discussed, and we had discussed what is ICD, what is DSM-5, and etc. So, uh, I would suggest that before continuing in this video, you would view the different videos that I've made for the concepts explanation. There we have named thorough examples so that you guys could break it down and understand it properly. So I would suggest that you view those videos first. You will find the playlist for them in the description below, and you will also need to have a proper understanding of how much syllabus has been reduced and what questions have been removed from each exercise. But in this case, no portion has been removed from psychological disorders, this chapter. So no portion removed, so that leads to no questions removing from our exercise, our main exercise. That means that it is essential that we solve every question in this chapter. So we'll start out without further ado. So firstly, we'll start out with our question 1. A. Choose the correct alternatives and complete the sentences. So our first question, sub question here would be, dash is the present system for classification of mental disorders. So as we had studied, the correct answer for this is option A, DSM-5. Then we move forward to our question number 2. Term was, schizophrenia was first used by dash. So as we had learned previously in subunit 6.6.6, it is Eugene Bleuler who used that name for schizophrenia. View the video given in the description to understand what schizophrenia means and how it can be broken down to understand what it really means. So it means that schizen, that is one part of this word, means to split, and phren means the mind. So the splitting of mind is schizophrenia. Thus we understand what schizophrenia, the term itself, means, but it was first used by Eugene Bleuler. So our correct option for this would be B. Term schizophrenia was first used by Eugene Bleuler. Third question. World Health Organization has developed dash for classification of all types of disorders. So the correct answer would be the ICD. So thus this question would, the statement would be, World Health Organization has developed ICD for classification of all types of disorders. So our correct option for here would be option A, ICD. Then we move forward to our question number 4. We find alternate phases of depression and mania in dash disorder. So this is the bipolar disorders that we had learnt in our third or second video lecture. That is our second last lecture on psychological disorders. So that was our unit 6.6.3, bipolar disorder. There you can understand that how it works and how it functions in an individual, causing different disruptions where an individual feels extremes of some emotions, or has phases of depression, and it is just topsy-turvy. So the correct option here would be option B, bipolar disorder. So I have just noted down or listed the correct options. That is, the first answer is A, B, A, B. So now we know what are the answers for the question number 1A. Then we move forward to our next question, that is question B. Sorry, the second part of our question 1. Match the pairs. So I'll just scroll down to show you guys the question. So match the pairs. So our first one in our first column is phobia. So phobia matches up with E, that is illogical fear. Having fear of cockroaches, dogs, and the example we had seen where an individual had the phobia of heights. So this is where we had understood it in our unit 6.6.1. There you will be able to read about phobias. Then we move forward to our second option in our column 1, that is DSM-5. This matches up with being formed in 2013, where it actually started. Sorry, DSM-5 was released. The latest version of the DSM, that is our DSM-5, was released in 2013, and it is being continued till now until further notice, where it will be updated to DSM-6. So then we move forward to our third row in our column 1, ICD-11. This matches up with our row 4th in our column 2, 2019. So ICD-11 was formed most recently, that is 2019. Then we move forward to our 4th row in column 1, Eugene Bleuler. So this matches up with our row 3, column 2, schizophrenia, as he was the one who gave a formal term for that disorder. Then we move forward to our row 5 in column 1, that is John Travis. So this row matches up with B, or our row 2 of column 2, where it shows wellness. Then we move forward to our row 6, depressive disorders. This matches up with our last option, that is sad feelings for a long period of time. So the depressive disorders are a much aggressive version of actual depression, where it aggravates to causing the person to feel very low, and this is a very dark stage in an individual's life. So I've listed down the options here, or the correct answers here for match the pairs. So just mark them in your textbook or in your notebook ASAP as we move forward, or you can pause it here and just note it down quickly. So we move on to our part C of our question 1. State whether the following statements are true or false. So our first statement here is, socially or culturally deviant behaviors are signs of psychological disorders. So this statement is false. Then we move forward to a second statement. Schizophrenia is a serious psychological disorder. So this is a true statement, because that's why it is mentioned in our textbook, because the heading of that unit itself says that major psychological disorders. That shows that it is a very important psychological disorder to be assessed and detected in an individual. So unit 6.6.6 would give you much better detail about what schizophrenia is, and I have made an entire video dedicated to schizophrenia and types of its symptoms. You will just find it in the description in the playlist for psychological disorders. Then we move forward to the statement number 3, that is feelings of hopelessness is one of the symptoms seen in depressive disorders. Exactly. So this is a true statement. So this was our question C of our or our part C of our question 1. I've listed again the answers for our first 3 statements. So please just note them down, or just write FTT in your textbook with a pencil, so that you'll find it easier to study and it won't take up much space in your notebook. So this brings us to our part D of our question 1, that is answer in one sentence. So we start out with our question or our sub question 1 of our part D. From which Latin word is the term anxiety derived? So the answer here is the word anxiety is derived from the Latin word anxietus, which means uneasy or troubled mind. So this was the Latin word from which the word anxiety or the term anxiety had been derived. Note this down as it has been given, as these are accurate answers from selective digests and reformed answers, and verified by various teachers and faculties of colleges, which have confirmed that these would be preferred answers for our board examination. So then we move forward to our second question. In which disorder does the person experience sadness and guilt for a long period of time? So here we understand that in depressive disorders, the person experiences sadness and guilt for a long period of time. Then we move forward to our part 3 or a question 3 of our part D. What do you call the fear that you experience unnecessarily in a non-threatening situation? So the unnecessary fear experienced in a non-threatening situation is known as a phobia or known as phobia, as we had understood in our unit 6.6.1, subunit 6.6.1, and we had understood what were the types of anxiety disorders in which phobic disorders were one of them. Then we move forward to our question 2. Answer the following questions briefly. So before we continue, I would like to tell you that I am just reading these out because I have that understanding that you guys have completely read the textbook or the chapter and then move forward to the exercise, and you have a proper understanding of what has been taught in the chapter and what you require or what you understand from psychological disorders and what message this chapter conveys on how you should be available for a person who is suffering from these, how you can understand and have a stable and inert mindset to help people in need or people who have psychological disorders, and to consider yourself lucky that you guys are actually, he or she who is suffering from psychological disorders is actually much more gifted, and consider them as actually lucky people that they have chance to experience something that normal people fear. So they are braver than the rest of us. They're braver than you because they are fighting a battle that most of us fear. So it is tough to understand, but if you are in the situation, the cowardice an individual would show who is normal, and the cowardice that they would show when they were asked that if what would happen if you were in the situation, it would be completely different from the braveness an individual who has already faced and rehabilitated his way to becoming a better personality or a better individual that has overcome his psychological disorders and become a strong person in life would be completely different. These two people would have different perspectives, and the person who has just recovered from all of this would have a fresh mindset and a very powerful perspective to his or her life. So do not think of yourself greater than these people, because these people have the will and are fighting a battle that you guys will never be able to fight, and in which many of you might even show your cowardice. So please think positively towards such people, because they require guidance, not aggressiveness from society. So without further ado, let's continue. Question 2. Answer the following questions briefly. So the first question given to us, sub question given to us here is explain the nature of psychological disorder. So this question has been separated into a few pointers. That is, we are going to be discussing around 5 pointers. So this is a very long answer, but you need to be prepared as you are giving a board examination. You should be prepared to write like crazy. So just bear with me and we'll go through it, we'll sail through it, and we'll achieve something great at the end. Explain the nature of psychological disorders. Pointer 1. It is difficult to distinguish normal behavior from abnormal behavior. Pointer number 2. According to the Mental Health Continuum Model Keys 2002, normal and abnormal behavior are two opposite poles of the same continuum sequence, and any two adjacent points on this continuum are not clearly different from each other. So this model has been given to us as our mental health continuum model, where we had discussed 4 different stages, where at stage 1 the individual is extremely healthy and ambitious. Stage 2, he or she is moderately healthy and does not require professional help. And stage 3, moderately unhealthy. Here, an individual suspects that he or she requires help from a professional. And at stage 4, extremely unhealthy. Here, the individual is actually in requirement of professional help severely. So this was our continuum model. So in the above image, we can observe 4 stages of mental health. The characteristics of individual belonging to different stages can be explained as follows. So now we have the understanding of the 4 stages. So I'll read out all of these stages slowly. These individuals are positive and are functioning well. They are psychologically and physically healthy. Then we move forward to our part B, stage 2. These individuals that are moderately healthy, these individuals are neutral but reactive. They do feel nervous at times and get affected by the stressors. However, if they become more realistic and accept their own limitations or constraints placed by the environment, they can reduce the stress that pile up on their head. So then we have our stage 3 and 4. I'm sorry if these images would be a little blurry. In the next part of our exercise solution, that would be for us chapter 7, I'll try to uh, click better photos. Sorry for such bad photography. So part C, stage 3. These individuals show signs of psychological damage and are moderately ill. However, they can overcome the situation by finding out the root cause of stress, obtaining emotional support, and getting professional help. So here people start suspecting that they require professional help, and actually they are very stressed, but they could heal back to what they were with proper help and emotional support from their friends and family. Then we move forward to our stage 4, part D. These individuals show clear signs of major psychological disorders that we had learned. They show extreme distress and impairment in mental, emotional, and social areas of functioning. They need professional treatment. So first, this was just suggested that they need professional. These people, they require it severely. So here we see the red flags that a person has or the individual has major psychological disorders. Then we move forward to our question 2. What is meant by anxiety disorders? So we'll dissect this topic and we'll understand what anxiety disorders are. But if you want a much detailed explanation about this, you can go through the anxiety disorders, that is our unit 6.6.1, or you can see the video uploaded. Uh, that would be our part 4, I think. Yeah, our part 3 or 4 on our chapter 6, where you'll be able to understand this. And we had discussed a few examples on that as well. So we read it now, the answer given to us. Answer is our is given to us in a few pointers. So our pointer one would be, in anxiety disorders, a person feels nervous or worried for a long time without any obvious reason, and it starts interfering with his daily life. Pointer number two, there are many sub-varieties of anxiety disorders such as generalized anxiety disorder and phobia. So then we move forward. That was our anxiety disorders, and we start with our question three. Narrate indicators of psychological disorders. So we start out with the reading out the pointers given to us. So we start with our first pointer. Each psychological disorder is associated with certain patterns of behavioral or psychological syndrome. That is cluster of symptoms. So this might be asked in your MCQs. What do you call a cluster of symptoms? That is psychological syndrome. Then we move forward to a pointer number two. Psychological disorders are also characterized by the presence of distress and or impairment in an individual suffering from the disorder. Third pointer, these disorders are also associated with an underlying psychological, biological or developmental dysfunction. So again, I'll repeat it that I'm reading these out because I've already explained these topics in the videos. And for this part, I am taking the assumption that you have already gone through the chapter. So then we move forward to our pointer number four. If the behavior is a normal response to some stressors, or if it is only socially or culturally deviant, then it is not considered as illness or disorder. Pointer number five. In short, psychological disorder or mental illness involves changes in emotion, thinking and behavior or combination of these such that it leads to distress, dysfunction and or impairment. So that was our question number three. Then we move forward to our question number four. What is meant by bipolar disorder? So we had learnt about this in our unit 6.6.3, and we had understood that how it is also called manic depressive disorder. So we'll understand what it is now. Pointer number one says, in bipolar disorder, a person experiences alternate phases of extreme sadness, hopelessness, stress at one time, and extreme happiness, enthusiasm, and elation at other times. Pointer number two, these opposite conditions are observed in him, one after the other. So this was a bipolar disorder and what it actually means. So then we move forward to our question number five. Describe post-traumatic stress disorder. Again, I'll repeat where we had learned this. We had learned this in our stress disorders or our trauma and stress related disorders. That was our subunit 6.6.4, where we had understood what are the actual causes of trauma and stress in our daily life, or in simpler words, dincharya, where we have two types of stress disorder that were ASD, acute stress disorder, and PTSD, that was our post-traumatic post-traumatic stress disorder. So now we'll understand as I read out the question about what it actually means or how we can describe it. If the symptoms of acute stress disorder continue for more than 1 month with the same intensity, that is, without much improvement, the individual is diagnosed as suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. So this was our question number two. Then we move forward to our question number three, explain the following concepts. So first we have our DSM-5, that is a diagnostic and statistical manual for mental disorders. So our DSM-5 is our latest version of the DSM that was that was released in 2013. That was our latest version for our DSM manual, and now we'll understand what it actually means and what is its function. So Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Health Disorders, DSM, is the classification of officially recognized psychiatric disorders published by American Psychiatric Association, that is APA. The present version of DSM-5 was introduced in 2013. It contains 22 broad categories of mental disorders with many subcategories. So now we understood what DSM-5 actually is and which association released it and what was its release date or release year, and what or how many categories and subcategories does it contain to give knowledge about various disorders that have been provided, or the knowledge of which has been provided to us by the APA, American Psychiatric Association. Now we move forward to our next question, or our next sub question, as I would like to say, for our question number 3, that is ICD-11. So we have to explain what ICD-11 is and what is its function in our life, or how it helps individuals to discover mental disorders and consider diagnosis on either categories of mental disorders that are already mentioned in it. So the ICD-11 is an abbreviation for International Classification of Diseases and Related Health Problems. It is created by the World Health Organization (WHO) for documenting all types of diagnosis, diseases, signs and symptoms, and social circumstances. The latest version, the 11th version of ICD was represented in 2019. According to ICD-11, there are 19 broad categories of mental disorders, and most of which overlap with DSM-5. So either these could be used for diagnosis and research on mental disorders. Then we have our question number 3, or sub question number 3 for our question 3, that is phobia. The word phobia is derived from Phobos, which is the name of a Greek god of fear. If an individual is intensely afraid even when situations are either less dangerous or not dangerous at all, and if that fear creates problems in adjustments in daily life, then it is known as phobia. So to understand this more, or in a broader perspective, we had been given an example of an individual who used to go to his balcony and was scared of the height and used to feel dizzy and used to feel like he would vomit if he stood there any longer, or people who are scared of dark places, dogs and etc. Whereas I could give an example myself because I am scared of dogs. So, and whereas if even the dog is standing across a street, I would be scared to the pulp. I was so scared I would just run from, not run, it would have obviously chased me. So I would just silently walk away as quickly as I could, because that phobia is really gotten over me. So I think on working on it and rehabilitating myself around it, so that I can come over such a phobia. So then we move forward to our sub question 4, syndrome. So we have the basic meaning that a cluster of psychological disorder, sorry, symptoms is a syndrome. So now we'll understand what the statement refers to. There are certain symptoms that occur together in a particular psychological disorder. These cluster of symptoms together is called a syndrome. Psychologists rely on these syndromes to diagnose a disorder. So now we understand what a syndrome actually is and what the boards expects you to write as the concepts explanation. So then we move forward to our sub question 5, hallucination. Hallucinations refers to false perceptions in the absence of stimulus. It means the person experiences something even when it is not actually present. So to understand this, you should read the positive symptoms. That is, hallucination is the first positive symptom that comes in a patient of schizophrenia. So you can read the symptoms, and if you want, you can watch the video made on schizophrenia and the types of symptoms that occur. That are two types, that are positive and negative. You will have a better understanding if you would view the videos mentioned in the description. So then we move forward to our question number 4. Write short notes on the following. The first question or the first sub question given to us here is nature of mental wellness. The nature of mental wellness can be explained with the help of the following points. The first one here is emotional aspect. Emotional aspect of mental wellness comprises of the sense of well-being, feeling of overall happiness and contentment, that is satisfaction. Then we move forward to a second psychological aspect. Psychological aspect of mental illness includes the sense of being worthy, that is, having high self-esteem, high self-confidence and tendency of self-actualization, and the ability to take the right decision, the ability to influence the environment, to satisfy one's needs, and the tendency to contribute towards society or community. So now we have our third and last aspect, that is life philosophy. The aspect of life philosophy is concerned with having a purpose, clear goals, and a direction in life. In short, mental wellness is a state of successful performance of psychological functions resulting in productive activities, fulfilling relationships with people, ability to cope up with stress, and ability to change and adapt. So this was mostly understood in our unit 6.4 in our part 2 of psychological disorders, where you will view this and have a better understanding. Then we move forward to our question or sub question number 2 of our question 4, drug addiction. We'll understand different pointers here as we had understood in our last part of psychological disorders. So our first pointer says, after consuming addictive substances like opium, charas, that is also known as hashish, ganja, marijuana, and heroin over a prolonged duration, a person gets habituated to it to such an extent that he cannot stay without it. This is known as drug addiction. So remember, if you would have seen the last part of psychological disorders, I mentioned an example of the movie Sanju. You'll understand it much in a much broader way, or elaborated explanation would be found in the video. You'll find the link in the description, or you just view the latest video after, sorry, before this video, where you'll understand what drug addiction has been explained as. So then we move forward to our pointer number 2. It is one of the major psychological disorders. Pointer number 3. An addict may go to the extent of stealing, begging, or borrowing money at times. He may not even hesitate to kill someone to procure money for buying addictive substances. Pointer number 4. An addict's physical, mental, social, and moral health is badly affected due to his addiction. Pointer number 5. If he tries to either reduce the doses or tries to stop the drugs, then withdrawal symptoms show up. Pointer number 6. These symptoms are very painful and pose a threat to his life, his or her life. Drug addiction is not gender specific. Then we move forward to our next sub question, that is depressive disorders. Depressive disorders. Pointer number 1. In a depressive disorder, an individual experiences extreme feeling of sadness as well as guilt for at least 2 weeks. So we had understood depressive disorders in the unit 6.6.2 in a broader way. You'll find the link in the description. That was for our second last video for psychological disorders. Pointer number 2. Some of its symptoms are sad feeling, weight loss, indecisiveness, suicidal thoughts, lack of enthusiasm, sexual dysfunction, inability to concentrate, feeling of hopelessness, constant feeling of fatigue, either lack of sleep or excessive sleep, lack of interest in food, and loss of appetite, excessive feeling of guilt over some matter. In the total, about 5 to 6% of people suffer from mild depression. So now we understand that what are the symptoms that occur during depressive disorders, what causes depressive disorders, and how much of the population currently suffers from mild depression. Then we move forward to our sub question 4, anxiety disorders. We had learned this in our first subunit of unit 6.6, that was our subunit 6.6.1, anxiety disorders, where we had learned two types of anxiety disorders that was given to us as phobic disorders, and our second one being generalized anxiety disorder, or it would be the other way around, as general anxiety disorders, generalized anxiety disorders was our part A, and phobic disorders was our part B of our subunit 6.6.1. So now we'll understand what the answer is. Pointer 1. In anxiety disorder, a person feels nervous or worried for a long time without any obvious reason, and it starts interfering with his daily life. Pointer number 2. There are many subvarieties of anxiety disorders such as generalized anxiety disorder and phobia. Pointer number 3. In generalized anxiety disorder, a person experiences intense tension which interferes with his daily routine as well as work experience. Some of the symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder are extreme fear of the unknown, increased heartbeats, irritability, frequent headaches, frequent worry, lack of sleep, sensation of vomiting, uneasiness, breathlessness, and blackouts. Pointer number 5. These symptoms should be present for at least 4 weeks in children and for 6 months in an adult. To diagnose any individual suffering from anxiety disorder, pointer number 6. Phobia is an intense and irrational fear of some objects or situations experienced for more than 6 months. There are various subtypes of phobias like specific phobia, social phobia, agoraphobia, and etc. As we move further. So now we will start with our question number 5. Answer the following in 150 to 200 words. Our first sub question here is describe the criteria of psychological disorders. So here we start out with reading the answer given to us here. So according to the present DSM-5, the 5 criteria for psychological disorders are: the first one being clinically significant syndrome. In psychological disorders, there is a certain pattern of behavioral or psychological syndrome observed in an individual. Pointer number 2, distress impairment. There is presence of distress and or impairment. Pointer number 3, dysfunction. If the symptoms lead to an underlying psychological, biological, or developmental dysfunction, it leads to the diagnosis of mental disorder. Then we have our fourth, response given to stressors or losses, and culturally relevant behavior is not considered as a sign of mental disorder, where a trance state in religious ritual is not considered as a mental disorder. We'll do this now. A response that is normally given to sad stressors and losses, that is sadness due to death of a loved one, or a culturally sanctioned response to a particular event, that is example trance state in a certain religious ritual, should not be considered as signs of mental disorder. Then we move forward to our pointer number 5. Any behavior which is deviant but does not produce dysfunction is not considered a sign of mental disorder. If behavior is only deviant or conflicting with society but does not produce dysfunction or distress or disability, then it does not become a sign of mental disorder. Example, in certain societies, homosexuality is considered as abnormal behavior However, according to DSM-5, it is not considered as a sign of disorder. So this was our sub question 1 of our question 5. Then we move forward to our question number 2, sub question number 2. Narrate any two psychological disorders in detail. So we'll choose our bipolar disorder and our ASD, acute stress disorder. In bipolar disorder, the individual experiences alternate phases of two states, one in which the individual is extremely happy, excited, and elated, and in the other, he experiences sadness, stress, loss of hopes, unrealistic thinking, irritability, and aggressiveness. So here we understand that this bipolar disorder is also known as manic depressive disorder as given to us in our textbook. Point number 2, bipolar disorder can be attributed to genetic factors, imbalance in neurotransmitters in the brain, mainly norepinephrine, serotonin, and dopamine. So then we have our second disorder that we have considered in this sub question, acute stress disorder, that has been explained in a few pointers. Pointer number 1 is if an individual in the age of 6 years or greater has experienced or witnessed extreme situation like death of a loved one, serious physical injury, natural disasters, sexual abuse, he experiences extreme fear, emotional numbness, severe confusion, gets dreams of the incident or uncontrollable thoughts. So for this disorder, that is ASD, we had learned about where uh, an individual by the of age 39 years had had a confrontation with a few gangsters which had a very bad impact on him. So now we'll understand what that was and how this example has been explained in our pointer number 2. He is not able to concentrate and sleep, experiences severe guilt from the or about the event, and holds himself responsible and goes into depression. He becomes irritable, emotionally unstable, prefers to stay alone, and does not take help of others. Pointer number 3. Up to 3 days after the traumatic experience, such reactions are not diagnosed as stress disorder. This is because they are normal reactions to extremely painful incidents. But if the situation lasts for more than 3 days, up to 4 weeks, and persists beyond that period, then it is called acute stress disorder. So now we understood what acute stress disorder is. We'll move forward to our third question, that is, what is schizophrenia? And describe the major symptoms that are our positive symptoms and our negative symptoms. That was our first five positive symptoms and a few negative symptoms that have just been named, and a little explanation has been given to us about the negative symptoms. Now we'll understand firstly what is schizophrenia actually. Schizophrenia means splitting of mind, where it was named by Eugene Bleuler. It is one of the major mental disorders. According to the DSM-5, there are two different types of symptoms for schizophrenia. They are as follows. The first one being positive symptoms that breaks further down to five types of positive symptoms. These behaviors are an excess of an addition to the normal thoughts or behaviors of an individual. It includes the first five being hallucinations, delusions. Uh, then we have our disorganized speech and loosening of association, disorganized behavior that are bizarre movements and incongruent affect. We'll read out what hallucinations and delusions are. Hallucinations are false perceptions in the absence of stimulus. It can be auditory, visual, tactile, olfactory, gustatory, or may be related to internal sensations of the body. Delusions. Delusion occurs when an individual has a belief which is false but he is not ready to change it in spite of clear contrary evidence. Then we have our the rest of the three positive symptoms. Part C. Disorganized speech and loosening of association. Person's talk is unrelated. That is, he may use useless words or may jump from one point to another which has no connection to the first. Then we have our fourth fourth symptom, that is fourth positive symptom, Disorganized behavior, bizarre movements. A person behaves in a very strange manner, that is, doing the same act for hours together, that is, rubbing the soap or washing a cloth many times, screaming without any reason, running here and there without purpose, attacking or biting someone, undressing clothes in public places, etc. Then we have our fifth positive symptom, that is incongruent affect. Emotions expressed by a person does not match with the situations. That is, he or she cries in happy occasions and laughs in sad occasions. We had seen an example for this in the movie Joker, where the individual was facing a psychological disorder that caused him to laugh at different situations, and where society uh, just boycotted him as a mentally dis disarranged individual. Then we move forward to our second type of symptom for schizophrenia, that is negative symptoms. These symptoms lead to low levels of functioning and so deteriorates the quality of life. They are diminished emotional expressions, lack of initiative or enthusiasm, diminished and reduced speech, anhedonia, no experience of deep emotions, being asocial, where asocial means avoiding any social contact or social interaction, being apathetic, that is a feeling of not being interested about anything, or not feeling enthusiastic about any aspect of life. Then we move forward to our third pointer that explains that what both of these symptoms mean and what could be dissected or what could be understood from this. If positive symptoms are seen for 1 month or longer, or if negative symptoms are seen for more than 6 months, the person is diagnosed with having schizophrenia. So this was our exercise for our chapter number 6, and now we have successfully completed 6 out of 8 chapters in the subject psychology, and we'll move forward with the chapter number 7 in by later next week, and we'll uh, release notes for these chapters in the coming week as well, so that we guys can you guys can refer to that and understand what this chapter actually means. You'll find the links or the playlist for the videos and the video lectures in the description below. And if you want to see how much syllabus has been reduced or what are the topics that are removed from our syllabus for our IT and psychology subject, I've made individual videos that include the paper pattern of IT and psychology. That are two different videos, and reduced syllabus for IT and psychology again two different videos, and a joint video for both IT and psychology that was based on the questions removed from IT and psychology, where you guys can just mark which questions are not going to be asked for in your boards, or which questions do not need to be answered according to the 25% reduced syllabus given to us by our HSC board. And please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. And again, if you want to support the channel, please follow me on Patreon. And if you are having any doubts pertaining to the topics covered in this video and the topics covered in previous videos, you can contact me on Telegram via the link given in the description for our Telegram group, where you can either DM me. My name and my ID on that is Dev Mahe. You can contact me on the group. You can send a message in the public group, or you can drop a DM where you can ask your doubts. Again, I'll repeat: no college homework to be asked for, because that's cheating. You have to do it on your own, and no unit paper. Sorry, your unit examination questions to be asked, because there were students that asked their entire unit test paper. They just sent me the whole page and asked me for the solutions. So again, please do not ask for those. If you have genuine doubts related to the subtopics, please ask then and there, and that only after that you have viewed the videos and understood what has been explained, what concepts have been explained. And if you still have doubts, please feel free to reach out to me on the Telegram group, and you can DM if you do not want your doubts to be public on the group. And I'll be uploading a few videos on the projects that have been that need to be given in our colleges, and what would be the current status of our board examination soon. where you guys can understand that in what pattern your boards will be taken, how our projects have to be submitted, and in what format you need to write your projects, and how you need to construct your projects, how or what is the marking scheme that again has been mentioned in the paper pattern video. You'll find it in the description. If you want to uh, view the notes, there will be a Google Drive link that was previously mentioned in the IT videos for the SOPs, where I have uploaded the .html files for IT and the .pdf files for our notes for psychology, and IT notes will be uploaded soon as well. And for now, just complete the chapters, complete exercises, complete the SOPs, note them down in your journal, because your journal carries 5 marks for your IT and your practicals are 15 marks for 3 hours. All has been mentioned in the video. So again, thank you for your support all along. We'll be reaching 500 subscribers soon. With your support, feel free to comment down below on suggesting how we can make your experience better on this channel. And your support would matter, your experience should matter, because after all, this year has been hard on all of us, and it is just easier for you guys, because the colleges are actually considering students for once, and our syllabus has been reduced, so we have help there that we'll sail through it properly. So again, take care, stay safe, and be kind to each other.